Hello, this is Joe Loyacano, SMAD's academic advisor, here to talk to you about SMAD's application procedure. First, we'll talk about eligibility. You must be a SMAD declared major. You must be degree seeking. Now that's going to be just about everybody. If you're getting a Bachelor of Arts degree, a Bachelor of Science, you are degree seeking and have completed at least 12 hours or be enrolled in at least 12 hours at JMU. There are two application periods, one in September and one in January. The vast majority of students are going to be applying in January. If you're a continuing student, meaning that you are not an incoming transfer student, you'll be applying in January. And those materials are due each year on the last Friday in January. For incoming transfer students or students who transferred the previous spring term, you are eligible to apply in the September application period. Again, you must be degree seeking and have completed at least 12 hours or be enrolled in at least 12 hours at JMU. You also must have earned at least 30 hours of JMU approved post-high school college credit. That means that it does not include things like AP credit that you may have received or dual enrollment credit. Applications are due for the September application period on the second Friday of the fall semester. The process is for a complete application to SMAD includes the following: completion of or enrollment in SMAD 101. Completion of the SMAD admissions test. Now, the SMAD admissions test is going to cover things like grammar and usage, timed writing samples, and basic computer knowledge. An application letter, we also sometimes refer to it as a personal essay, and we're going to ask for an essay for both your first choice and a separate essay for your second choice that should be included. These should be different from one another. How different they are is sort of up to you. But if I'm applying to digital video and cinema and journalism, my goals are likely going to be slightly different, and the way I want to speak to those committee members is going to be a little bit different. We also ask for your unofficial JMU transcript. Transfer students should also include transcripts from previous institutions. Now, when we say unofficial JMU transcript, this is the one that you can go into My Madison and download as a PDF. So it's pretty easy to get access to that. You don't need to get the official transcript, which actually costs money. An unofficial one will do just fine. The SMAD admissions questionnaire, that's a very brief questionnaire that talks about focus within your concentration. It also talks about media-related experience and leadership roles that you've had, including in high school. And then the SMAD application and contract, which is going to outline the requirements both for the application and if you are admitted, what you need to do beyond that. Talk a little bit about the application letter / personal essay. You should consult resource materials. Now it says that on your general procedure handout, the one that you can also find on our website. What does that mean? That means, if you want to be a journalist, you probably should reference publications or be aware of publications that you find interesting. Or I'm a film person, so I might be inspired by something from Film Comment, or the Criterion Collection, or one of the many film websites out there. Really what this is about is getting to know what you know about your subject area, and do you understand where the trends are at and what conversations are going around those things. So that's really, when you see consult resource materials, it's not that you're going to be referencing them in there, but it's that you really understand what is going on in the discipline. So you're going to tell us why you're interested in SMAD, what you know about your chosen concentration and why it interests you, how that concentration will contribute to your university education and intellectual growth. It's a huge question, right? How that concentration will prepare you to meet your career goals. So we've got these 4 items that we're asking about in 500 words. And so 500 words isn't a lot of time to talk about that. There isn't a playbook for how much you address each of these 4, if you split it up exactly 4 ways, or if you lean more heavily towards one. What I will say is you should make sure that you address all 4 of those in some kind of way. Doesn't have to be explicit, but it needs to at least be implicit somewhere in there that you are addressing those four things, because that's what the committee members have asked for. Your essay should be double-spaced, typed, and signed. It should be approximately 500 words. The most frequent question I get is 505 okay? Is 495 okay? Mine's 498. Is that okay? I would say all three of those are okay. I don't know what's okay and what's not okay because it says approximate, but I tell people typically if you're going over 550 or under 450, it's probably an issue. Again, that's not a hard and fast rule. If you're at 449, is anybody going to notice? Probably not. It starts to become obvious when a committee member is looking at, maybe 80, 90, or 100 applications, and one of them is way longer than all the others, and one of them is way shorter than all the others. So try and stay in that range. This is about telling that story in 500 words. You should not quote resource material, and this is subject to the JMU Honor Code and subject to plagiarism review. So this is about you. There should be no reason to violate the Honor Code or to plagiarize any parts of it, because this is telling the committee members what inspires you, what your goals are, what you want to be, what you want to do, what you're excited to learn about. So all of those things, it would be silly to plagiarize or to violate the Honor Code in any way when it came to this, because this is about you. The decision. How are things decided? The admissions test, it tests existing knowledge about the subject. So you can't fail the admissions test. I'll have students come into my office and say, well, I failed the admissions test. That's not a thing. We don't have a pass-fail. It's not about getting a certain score. It is one marker that is going to give the SMAD admissions committee more information. So it's a piece of the puzzle, but it's not a make or break part of it. GPA, I also hear this. My GPA just wasn't high enough. There is no minimum GPA to get into SMAD. Does it help to have a better GPA? Sure. Can it be detrimental to have a significantly low one? Sure. But it's not going to tell the entire story. So we've got these four pieces. Don't forget that. The application letter or personal essay is going to be assessed on both form and content. So not just what you're saying, but also, have you said it clearly? Have you told that story in the best way? And is it grammatically correct? And then media-related experience. This, again, much like the admissions test in that you can't fail, or GPA and there not being a minimum, with media-related experience, I'll have students come into my office and say, but I don't have any. Is that okay? Yeah. A person could be admitted with no media-related experience. A person could be admitted with a lower GPA. A person could be admitted with a lower test score. When we find all four of those, including the application letter, not being so great, that's when we get into trouble, or multiple ones, or a whole host of other factors. So it is one piece of the puzzle. So try not to get too hung up in realizing that there's maybe a weakness in one area. Advice that I give. With the admissions test, it evaluates existing knowledge on writing, grammar, and technical and information literacy. What does that mean? That means that for many of you, you've spent 12, 13, maybe 14 years learning grammar and usage. If the test is imminent for you, if you're going to be taking it, if you're listening to this and you're going to be taking it about a week or two, what are the chances in the next week or two that you're going to learn the grammar that you didn't learn the last 13 years? You know what you know. And this is testing that. So my advice is always get a good night's sleep the night before the test. Eat breakfast and breathe. Thinking back in my many years in this role as an advisor and looking through all the data, I don't recall a student ever getting a perfect score. I'm not saying that they never did, but I can't recall one there. So you're probably not going to get a perfect score, and that's okay. So just breathe. Know you're going to miss some, and it's not going to be a big deal. Most people come to me and say they feel that they didn't do so well on it. So if you have that feeling, know that many others probably have a similar experience. For the application letter and personal essay, what SMAD does is mediated storytelling. So we are storytellers. You have to tell your story in 500 words. That's not a lot of room. So choose your words wisely. I see a lot of fluff when I look through these. Think of your audience too. Who is your audience? Well, your audience isn't going to be me, and it's going to be committee members in your concentration. It's going to be people who are professionals and are academics in your field of study who don't know you. So they need to get to know you in 500 words. What 500 words help us get to know you? And then for media related experience, this is probably where the easiest mistake happens and the biggest one. Provide detail and quantify. What I mean by that is, we've had students write, I have a YouTube channel with some videos. Okay, and then I talk to them later, and I say, tell me more about this, and they say, oh, I have 25,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I've made like 78 videos. I said, why didn't you write that down? So quantify when you can. And that's just a made up example, but quantify those things. And this is stuff that I do as an advisor. This is the number of advisees I advise. This is the number of courses that I taught. Wherever you can quantify, that's going to tell that story more concretely. What about notification? In fall admissions, that's again for incoming transfer students only, and that's transferring from another school, not from another major, but transferring from another school. They'll be notified via email by October. That date always shifts a little bit, but usually by October, you've got an email. For spring admissions, it takes a little bit longer because there's a lot more people involved, and that notification is going to come somewhere around spring break. There are a limited number of spots per concentration. So this really factors in. I get a lot of questions about the reasons why a student is admitted or is not admitted, and it really has to do with the 4 things that we've talked about, and we'll look at them here again. The reason is going to be based on the number of applicants in each concentration and the number of openings that we have. And your admissions test scores, your GPA, your media-related experience, and then the form and content of that application letter and personal essay. So it's all of these things taken holistically. It's not one piece that is going to be that make or break piece. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out to your SMAD 101 professors, or feel free to reach out to me, Joe Loyacano, SMAD's academic advisor. Pretty easy to find my information. Best of luck, everybody.